Hey, and welcome to Innovators powered by Best Buy. I'm Bradley Hasemeyer, and today is a very exciting day because we're talking to Marques Brownlee. Yes, you know him as MKBHD. He's involved with Ridge Wallet, making some new products, and we're here to learn a little bit more. Marques Brownlee, I got to say, man, when I found out that we were going to be talking to you, I was so stoked. Thank you so much for being with us. How's your day going so far?
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. It's been pretty good. Busy, very busy day.
You seem surprised busy, but we're in Tech Timber. Or
Yeah,
Techtober, or whatever it is.
That's part of the fun of it is things just kind of pop up. I was in California this morning. I'll be back tomorrow. Busy.
That's just how it works, right? It's like people are running. I got to run errands to the grocery store. That's basically, but your grocery store is another state with huge tech people. Well, thanks for taking some time out of your day and being here. Basically, our show is for tech-focused people who love products and love tech. So, on a pie chart, 99.9% of everyone knows who you are, but give us a little bit on who you are for, I guess, my mom who's listening, the one person who may not know, and then your involvement with Ridge Wallet and why we're here talking about these cool products.
Yeah, for sure. So, I make tech videos online. I review products. I talk tech. I've interviewed people. I kind of just have been covering tech for a while, the better part of the last 15 or so years online. Mainly in YouTube videos. So I really enjoy making videos. And I really enjoy testing and reviewing products in general. That's been kind of the theme behind everything, is trying to figure out if things are actually good and if they actually work, and which one you should buy. That's kind of the overall gist of it. And what's exciting is I've actually started being able to make my own products. This is a question that's come up forever. Once I was sort of in a groove with reviewing a lot of products, I started seeing comments like, well, what if you made your own? That would be cool, right? What if you made your own products? What would they be? And I think the original thought was you should make a smartphone, but that is
oh man,
insanely
that's a lot
ambitious,
of layers. Yeah,
very competitive undertaking. But really, what I actually found most interesting and compelling, at least, was everyday carry products. Because we carry a phone every day. It's a very personal decision for a lot of people, but you also carry a wallet. You also carry a pen. There's all types of stuff that people carry every day. And Ridge was a company that was starting to make a whole bunch of those things and wanted input in how to make those things well. And so I collaborated with them, started working with them. And I think the good news was they were just the right company, just the right size. And a lot of creators go through sort of decisions like this, but they're just the right size that they are willing to listen to a creator and take input from me and turn it into real products, which is amazing. They're small enough to do that, but they're also big enough that they can actually pull it off. They have supply chains, they have material science expertise, they can actually make stuff. So this is the Goldilocks zone, perfect opportunity to go from reviewing products to also making products of my own, which has been super exciting.
I love that. And I got to wonder, the way you said that made me think that there were other groups that maybe have approached you in the past, but weren't going to listen to you. Come on, you're Marques Brownlee. Why would they even, that's got to be frustrating. I don't know if that's something that you're talking out of experience or just hypothetically, but I'm shocked by that. I would imagine every YouTuber out there would be as well.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. It all comes kind of down to what your expertise is actually in. I think a common analog is athletes having signature shoes. This is something you see all the time, right? And I've talked to a lot of these athletes, and many of them kind of don't really have a hand in designing the shoe. It almost gets presented to them every year, and they go, cool, that's my new shoe.
Yep.
But I think the ones where they're actually sort of seeing iterations and prototypes and understand why it looks the way it does, why it feels the way it does, because of the trade-offs that happen behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Those are usually always better. So I wanted to make sure that it was actually going to be a collab instead of just a company slapping a name or a logo onto something.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I actually have a couple examples here. We're going to talk about the product specifically in just a second, but I wanted to kind of get into why a wallet? I know you weren't there at 2013 when Ridge started, but on our podcast, we have had people creating products that never existed, like Theragun from Therabody. At least not to my knowledge, there wasn't anything prior to that. And then and then companies that have innovated like Sonos, right, with the Ace headphones and that kind of thing. Clearly Google on their Pixel 9, we talked to them as well. So it's a pre-existing, so the wallet is like, I mean, I think cavemen had wallets. Like they've been around a long time and they look pretty much the same. And they were always like mostly leather, mostly foldable. And then, so do you know what got Ridge's attention to say, hey, this is a classic product, we could innovate this, and kind of what led them down that street?
I think you're exactly on the money, which is, this is an innovation. It's a product category that exists forever. And one of the interesting things about categories like that is you kind of just end up with these huge stalwarts that don't innovate anymore. They're kind of safe. They're playing it safe. They're just kind of existing.
Yeah, the fat cats, right? The kings that are like, my kingdom's fine. We don't really need to do much to it. We're good.
Yeah. So they end up being that ends up being like almost like a back burner thing. Like they don't think too much about innovating the product anymore as much as they think about growing the business and all these other things that come with being there. And so a disruptor is kind of like prime for those types of industries. And the wallet hadn't really seen anything new in forever. And so they actually had a really unique, interesting idea that sort of took off because it hadn't been interrupted in forever. I'm actually hoping, I'm very excited about the new one, which I think is even more right up the alley. But in general, I think you're right. Wallets, not a whole lot of change for a long time and then sort of ripe for a new player.
And then, so then the kind of the next step from the giant wallet that held every receipt and every, defunct video store card that people had. Then we moved into the minimalist kind of category. Why do you think this took off? Because there are other minimalist wallets. So clearly there's a desire by people. Does this speak to culture, or is this just like more of an EDC, everyday carry type of thing that you're talking about? Or what's the draw there?
Yeah, it's a couple things. I mean, it is the design being relatively unique, but also the cultural moment, the branding and like the marketing and how they presented it. And in general, just working. I feel like for me, I've always been a minimalist in what I carry every day, even though I review a lot of tech. I only want to actually own a small number of things.
Isn't that so funny? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think a lot about like the few things that I carry, and I want them to be efficient. And I feel like this is, a minimal wallet was right up my alley. I don't want to carry 100 receipts. I actually don't carry any cash. That might be rare, but I almost never need it. I have like Apple Pay on my phone. I have like the card in the wallet. So a minimal wallet was a pretty great idea.
And you bring up a really good point. This is something I was curious about too, because I like EDC as well. I review products. I don't have 100 billion followers like you, but I love products. I love gear. To me, gear is really like a tool to help you do something, and it should motivate you toward adventure. I'm a dad with a couple of kids, and like I love gear that gets us outside and does things like that. So the minimalist wallet kind of idea is great, but even slimming down more is tap to pay on your phone, your watch, these kind of things. And I've wondered, what does this do to a wallet industry? And how do you, as a forward-looking tech person, kind of marry that with the demand for these wallets? I'm just curious.
Yeah, it kind of flips it on its head. I feel like they were just delivering things that were status quo for a long time, which is fine. But then when the priorities of the potential buyers shifts, you got to be able to respond to that. And I think what's fun is a lot of times the priorities shift and the buyers don't even know the priorities shifted. They just keep using the old thing just because, I don't know, I've had this wallet forever.
Right? Yeah,
I'm used to it. I just get another one.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think being able to address that, which is, look, I don't actually want, I'm a back pocket person for my wallet.
Yeah.
It would be kind of annoying after a while to sit on a huge wallet full of 15 cards and a bunch of cash and clips and just all these things I don't need. And so I think they had to think a lot about that, especially in the beginning, about what those new priorities are and attacking those straight on. And that's how you end up with something a little different.
And I think Ridge has done a really good job, not just evolving the wallet from it's a card carrying thing, but specifically some of the elements here, like it can hold 12 cards, it's RFID-blocking, it's obviously the material itself. So talk a little bit about these products as a product reviewer. What sticks out to you? What are some highlights for you? And then why specifically did you say, let's do it on these? They've got other products in their Ridge category. So why these?
Yeah, to me, it's actually just in the literal functionality of using the wallet. So obviously, you want it to look great and be nice and soft and high quality materials and feel nice and all that. But to me, it actually came down to the moment where you have to go get a certain card or a certain ID. You know, I'm about to go check out at a store, and they asked me for my card, and in 2 seconds I can get to the most access card and like just a flip.
Because it's got this little notch, right? So you just like boom,
exactly,
and then it just pops out instead of having to open up, slide it out, close it back, all that, right?
yeah. So just that little moment, the way they've optimized that, I thought was amazing. Or even just like I have, you know, my lesser used cards, like my insurance card or my key card for my car. Actually, I don't need them as much, but when I do, I can still get to them as well. So that little difference between having the fold versus just like popping a card in and out, for me, was a pretty big difference maker.
And then some of the materials here, we've got, this is carbon fiber, or is it just an overlay? Yeah, that's real carbon fiber. This thing could win some races because it's made out of carbon fiber. This is great. This is race quality, lightweight, super strong. And then aluminum, as the Brits say. Is that what we're working with here?
Exactly. And that that oil fill you can see in the matte black texts, which is pretty sick too. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that. Oh, I've got it upside down. Let's do it like that. There we go. Look at that. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got a nice little flip.
The packaging too, was that something that you had? I'm gonna show off the packaging here because that's such an element and an experience as well. Within here, you've got like a little tool, little everyday carry tool. Talk a little bit about that. Why package it this way?
Yeah, it's really, I mean, it's all kind of in thoughtfulness of design. So again, this is the part that you only really have once. Like you use the wallet a million times, but you only unbox it one time. So it kind of sets the tone for your first impression of the product. And if you're paying a nice premium price, you want to have a nice premium first impression. So including a little tool to change the faceplate, even though we don't have to include that, we do because it's nice. And then premium materials and a nice little like well-designed little, you know, card as you saw on the wallet as well. With the colors, I'm a fan of red and black, so that works nicely for me too.
That's easy for you. Yep.
So yeah, when you can sort of combine all those things and give people a good first impression, I think that's pretty universal in the product world. Is you will see products that minimize their packaging and they are going for the absolute minimum price, and that's a category by itself. And then there are those who are trying to give you a little bit more of an experience, a little bit more of a nice taste in your mouth where you'll like return to the brand. If it ever breaks, I'll get another one. This one was a good one. Trying to live there and still be practical is definitely a goal.
And clearly you're involved in not just like, hey guys, put my logo here, but you're involved on like a creative director kind of side. Talk about how that evolved. Was that the initial idea, or were they just kind of like, hey, we want to work with you, and you were like, what if we did this instead?
Yeah, there's actually a really that's actually the most fun part for me, to be honest. Is Ridge didn't just want to make new products and better products, which is what I wanted to do, but they wanted to, as a company and as a brand, be creator driven, period. Which is fun because you think of these big companies as like a boat with like 1,000 oars where like you could never change the direction of it very quickly. It takes a lot. But there are certain companies that you think of as being typically like really intertwined in the fabric of like YouTube. You see them on YouTube all the time. You see them on Instagram all the time. You think of them when you're online in these spaces all the time, and they're very creator forward, creator first, which is really awesome. Typically, they're good to work with if they're doing ads with creators and things like that. And Ridge, when they came to me and when we first started talking, they made a point that they also wanted to be at the forefront of that space as well. And I'm right there. I'm a creator. I make videos. I do videos about products all the time. I do ad integrations all the time. And so that natural connection of, oh, I can walk you guys through being the absolute best in the business here also. Yeah. And we can make the best products possible that I have ideas about at the same time. Yeah. That was kind of I was excited when they were also interested in sort of changing the direction of the boat that quickly, because you don't think of usually big companies being willing to do that.
Yeah, no, I love that. And then what does that look like on a day to day for you? Are you kind of like 50-50? Are you a hybrid work from home kind of employee? Obviously, you got to be able to touch in on the road, or they just get in touch with you and they're like, hey, we want to develop this new line of product. What do you think? How's that work?
Yeah, we have daily touch points, and we have bunch of Slack channels now, where I keep up to date on the business. But it's also like they're really good at getting samples of stuff here to our studio. So if they have new ideas for stuff or early iterations of prototypes, they can get them here very quickly. We can go back and forth on stuff. When they see a track number deliver the thing, immediately we fire up the chat. What do you think of this? What do you think of this?
Yeah.
Shooting ideas back and forth. So even if they're not physically here in the office all the time, they are here sometimes. We do get a lot of data back and forth between just on exchanging ideas and figuring out what works. So
Yeah.
that's been fun. And it's also, this is like a weird quirk, but like using a prototype of a product, I'm used to changing phones all the time. So I'm used to using a new thing every day, but using a prototype of my own product before the real one comes out is kind of surreal. And then I have to remember to use the final version when it comes out, because I've been using the prototype this whole time.
Yeah, yeah. So you can't take that out.
So I can, and it's like I'm not thinking the cashier is like staring at my wallet like, "Ooh, what's that? Is that the unannounced Ridge wallet?" Like, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
But it's kind of, yeah, you're right. It's kind of the same way as like testing the new iPhone before anyone's allowed to know about it. I do have to keep an eye out and make sure it's not just kind of out there. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. And then obviously we're a podcast about kind of the stories behind the product. So were there any time kind of throughout this process that you thought, I just don't know if this is going to work out, or when you're telling them, hey, I really want to push the envelope here. I want to, instead of carbon fiber, I want to use angel's breath and cloud wings and like things like that. And you're just like, no, they say no, that's not going to work. And, well, it's not going to happen. A lot of the products on here have these backstories of it started off on a bar napkin and we got it this far. And then, manufacturing couldn't get this one thing right. And so we ran out of money and we were scrapped. You're in a bit of a different situation here because you're coming into a pre-existing company. But I'm curious, when you were along the way developing this, if there were any kind of behind the scenes that you could bring us into.
Yeah, so I'll try not to give away too much, but I've definitely felt
you can give away as much as you want, Marques. you just put it out there. We'll go to press with it. It's totally fine.
It has, it's been a learning experience, and I think this has been the other upside that I didn't know about before starting working with them, was how much I would learn about the iteration of products and how much they already know about products. Especially materials, and they do a lot with metals and carbon fiber, as you've seen, but even just fabrics and other things like that. I can design a product based on how I think it should work and what I think it should look like. But there's another dimension that even as reviewers, we don't always think about, which is how it should actually be built that can satisfy both those things.
Interesting.
I had a little bit of this with the shoe. Again, I could make a shoe that I thought looks great, but then it would have no structural integrity. So I would need more expertise help there.
It's just a sheet of paper. You're just shelling.
It's just fabric.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, that's been the sort of X factor, which is I can go to them with some ideas and go, I think it should be this, this, and this. And they'll go, okay, just so you know, the trade-off with having A, B, and C is you will not be able to do D. And I'll go, that's why I've never seen that before. Okay, back to my own drawing board. Let's see if I can, change dimensions here, change priorities here. Ooh, like asymmetrical here. What are we going to do with this fabric? That's been new conversations I didn't know that we would have, but that I've had a lot of that are really insightful. So yeah, every product you see, whether you think about it or not, has had some amount of trade-offs in the design process.
Sure.
They might be head scratchers in the final one. Why did they go with this?
Yeah.
Probably because it's the only way they could have also done this.
Yeah.
You just don't know it.
Yeah. Most likely it's actually spent a lot of time having to figure out how to compromise on that. And you just think, well, they really missed it on that. The button's too small. And you're like, well, I don't think they missed it. I think there was a compromise that had to be made. That's a good point.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I love that you're getting that behind the curtain view after how many videos do you think you've done, like reviewing products?
I think so. The total video count is somewhere around 1,650 videos.
I mean, just think about that. A 1650. I don't have that many friends. I have like 5 friends. 1650 products. I couldn't even name that many. Like that's amazing. And so out of all of that background that you've done, all the work you've done, it's so interesting that this is kind of a new aspect. And I would imagine as a reviewer, you understand how the sauce is made in a different way than other tech reviewers and reviewers in general are like, I don't know, like it feels kind of light. Maybe it's too light. Okay, boom. And then that's it. And you're like, no. This is someone's baby that started off as like an idea that moved to this. And then you had to make these compromises in manufacturing. And then there's marketing. So much goes into it.
Yeah. It's kind of changed. You're right. It's adjusted the lens through which I think I see products. I think I've always been what I think is a good judge of what makes a good product for a buyer. Like I'm like a professional user, basically. I'll use something. I know what to expect at certain parts of the process for using something. Great. But then also having a little insight on like, okay, there's a whole company behind this thinking about the next generation of this product, thinking about, what they could have done with this product, but chose to sort of go in a different direction. It's been fun to see. I did go to business school, but even if you study business, you don't really get that full hands-on of like how actual companies are thinking of specific products until you hear it from them. So
we hear that story a lot, where it's someone's like, I've got an MBA, but it didn't matter because that didn't include learning about, shipping issues between, this country and that country and a shortage of this chemical that led to this product, all that kind of stuff. So life is truly the master class. Teacher. Right. Yeah. Truly the teacher. You talked about innovation from the standpoint of, a lot of companies are already thinking ahead, like what's to come. And I noticed, and I didn't even realize this, but Ridge has a lot of things. There's like a key case, there's rings, recently suitcases, which makes sense because basically it's a wallet for your clothes. Are you involved with some of that stuff as well? Or did you just come on and that's already been going on?
No, I've seen a lot of the development of that and I've helped out with that as well. And that's the thing is like we have, old prototypes of like the things that you guys don't see, which is the old key cases and the old wallets and the old suitcases and stuff. But I think the theme is still everyday carry. Like, what are you going to carry? What are you going to bring with you? Because this is where you want to be efficient. I don't want to carry a bunch of extra weight. I want to carry the right stuff for me in my lifestyle and what I want to bring and where I want to go. So that's been I've been trying to shine a light as a professional user on what people expect from these types of products. And then that can shape, functionality and dimensions and materials and all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah. And is there an ultimate dream for you in terms of product? Is there, if you didn't have to adhere to reality, as it were, with like manufacturing and that kind of thing, do you have in your brain just swirling around, waking up at 2:00 in the morning, was sweating with a sketch pad and just drawing, it's going to look like this and do that? Is that kind of where you live?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, it's funny that a lot of the stuff that I didn't really think was possible has already started to materialize behind the scenes. Like you'll see in upcoming launches in the next couple of weeks and months, like things that have been going on behind the scenes for longer.
Yeah.
But it's actually, to be honest, pretty refreshing that they're willing to take on challenges that to me are just kind of like, hey, I think it should have A, B, C, and D. And they're like, okay, well, here's where we think that could be challenging, but let's give it a shot.
Yeah, they close the door. They're like, Marques wants it to fly. He always wants it to fly. I don't know what's his thing with flight.
And like I have a prototype now of a product we've been working on where I went to start daily using it and I was like, oh, this is terrible. I've realized I've designed this in a way that I think is very aesthetic, but is poor, not functional.
Yeah.
So like we've gone back to the drawing board on things as well. So it's good. It's good to actually test the thing.
Yeah. It's like when my kids want to experiment with food and they'll be like, okay, so how about instead of peanut butter and jelly, let's do peanut butter and, paprika and chili flakes. I'm like, okay,
try it out.
Let's try it out. Pretty sure one bite and you're going to say, you were right, Dad. This is not the way we want to be eating lunch today. I love that. Well, where do you also see, even within Ridge or without Ridge, like on the outside, where is tech heading? Obviously people come to you all the time thinking about what is the future of tech. AI is something we talk a lot about on this program. What is the TV show in the 50s on this podcast? So I'm curious, kind of like your perspective of what's to come, either shining a little bit of light, like you were talking about the next couple of weeks at Ridge, if there's anything you can hint there, but then also just the broader tech landscape product wise.
Yeah, wow. I mean, there's a lot of sort of emerging trends in products and tech in general. I guess the interesting part about tech is we always get this this acceleration curve of like a really, really fast adoption, and then it flattens out. So when things are first taking off, they have these really steep curves of improvement, and it's really exciting because things get 2 times better year over year, 5 times better year over year, and it's really awesome to watch. And then you kind of have to predict where it will even out. So you talk about AI, like obviously that's everywhere now. It's doing the thing. It's rapidly
skyrocketing right now, right?
It's skyrocketing. Everyone's wondering where the flat line is. Is it, is it human intelligence? Is it above human intelligence? Like there's lots of questions about that, how useful it can be to us. I think in general, my favorite trends in tech are the ones that are focused on being useful to us. So yes, there's lots of AI things happening, but the most interesting ones are the ones that actually are useful to me. So the assistant on my phone that can go dig up an email from 10 years ago, or the one that can tell me the weather in the city that I'm going to land in a couple of days before I even take off, so I know what to pack. The things that are actually designed to provide real function to real people in real situations. That's the tech that I am personally most excited about.
What's next for Marques? Are you looking at working with other brands as well? Is this like this case study working with Ridge has gone well and now you're kind of out for hire, or you got this going on, you got your YouTube channel going on, you got your sneaker deal, didn't even break a sweat, like that whole deal. So what's next for you?
I think this does feel like the beginning. I'm sort of all in on now that we've started really deeply working on products with Ridge, I'm excited about that future. But I just feel like I just want to keep making more better videos. There's always this light at the end of the tunnel for the production nerd in me that's like, we can make even better videos. This one can be even better than the last one. So those are the two main things. Is I think we can continue to make the best, hopefully best tech videos on the internet. And ideally, we can also start making some of the best products in the world and marry the two together. Wouldn't that be the dream?
I love that. Well, congrats, man. As somebody else who considers themselves a bit of a creator, you've always been an inspiration to myself and to so many others, even though I'm much older than you. Watched you when you were little, and seeing you grow up through this is pretty cool. So shout out to all your hard work, and thank you for keeping tech on the straight and narrow, because we need people like you in the governing body consensus to say, hey guys, enough is enough. Can we kind of move over this way? So we appreciate that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Well, there you go. Another episode of Innovators powered by Best Buy, and another really cool product. Shout out to Marques Brownlee. Thanks so much for being on the show. And thank you guys for watching and or listening. Make sure you subscribe and let us know in the comments what products you'd like to see next.